if you haven't signed up for the 7 Legs contest and you still want to go, I'll post the sign up link again in the chat. We have posted the teams, but tonight we'll look at like who else signed up, and then we'll post like extra teams with the people who signed up today. Okay, so we will start with problem 1. All right, so basically, what this problem has you do is you're given an integer, which is Sanjay's current GPA, and you want to find the largest GPA he can get by rearranging the digits in his current GPA. So for example, here we're given 1891, and we can rearrange it to get 9811. So the most immediate strategy that comes to mind is just like putting the largest digits first, and then the second largest digits second, and then so on until the smallest digits come last. So okay, so now let's just start implementing this solution. So we'll first read in the input, and the first thing we need to realize is that x can be very large, right? It tends to 100, so that would not fit in an int, and that would not fit in a long either. And in a lot of these problems, we've been telling you like, oh, the input may not fit in a 32-bit integer, which is an int in Java, but we kind of don't want you to get in the habit of relying on the problem statement telling you when you have to use a long. So from now on, we're gonna stop doing that. So you get in the habit of learning to look for when you need to use a long yourself, because in contests, most of the time they will not tell you. So it'll be up to you to figure out that you have to use it. So in this problem, you can't even use a long since it's 10 to the 100, and a long can only store up to about 10 to the 18th. So we're basically forced to read this in as a string, which will be up to a 100 length because it will have up to 100 digits. And we want to print the digits such that like the largest ones come first. So let's actually first have like a frequency array to keep track of how many of each digit appears. I mean, like how many times each digit appears. So for example, like freq of d will be the number of times digit d appears in x. Okay, so now we can just loop over all the characters of x, and then increment its digit, its like frequency, the frequency count of its digit by 1. So we'll go like x dot char I minus 0, because we want the character 0 just correspond to the int index 0, and then character 1 to index 1, and so on. So subtract 0, and then that will be plus plus. Okay, so now at the end of this, freq of d does correctly store the number of times digit d appears in d. So now we can loop through the digits in descending order, right? Because we want the largest digits to come first. And then for each digit, you want to print it the number of times it appears in the original string. So you just loop through freq of d, which we said is how many times digit d appears in the original string, and then just print it that many times. And that should be it. So let's run this. Oh, I added a system.out.print. Okay. Okay, so that works. Okay, so there's actually a different solution that, so this solution you may notice is an O of n time solution, because we just linearly go through the entire string 2 times, or like actually, yeah, basically 2 times. But you can do it in this, you can do it like slightly more slowly in an n log n solution. The log n factor will pretty much never matter, and in this problem it for sure does not matter, because n is basically 100 if you treat n as the number of digits. So what you can do is actually read in the input as a char array. So we're still going to read it as a string, but then just like convert it into a char array. And then you can just sort this char array, and then you want to print in descending order, but Arista sort will automatically sort it in ascending order. So you have to print it in backwards order. So you just loop through the indices in backwards order, and then just print that character. Oh, oops, I forgot. Okay. Okay, so does anyone have any questions over either of these two solutions that I went over? All right, okay, I will let Andrew present the solution to problem 2 now.